What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris, man. We are here at the Work Hard, Play Harder podcast. It is Thursday, November 14th, 2024. My name is Chris Drummond. I'm a freelance sports reporter based out of Minnesota here. I also work in sales and proprietor of this podcast, Work Hard, Play Harder, where I bring individuals on and talk about their why and get to know them outside of their occupation. I got a special guest that's going to be coming on with me today. Her name is Alicia Hughes. She is the director of communications for the Ocala Breeders Sales Company. She is an award-winning writer and editor as well. And we're going to talk to her about her why of getting into journalism, getting into communications, and get to know her a little bit outside of her occupation. So without any further ado, I introduce to you the wonderful, talented, and the beautiful Alicia Hughes. Good afternoon. How you doing?
How's it going, Chris?
It's going good. It's going good. It's wonderful to see you. Just want to
You as
say you look.
well. You as well.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, first off, is it Alicia or Alicia?
Alicia.
Got you. Got
Yes.
you. Okay, you look absolutely lovely today, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
Absolutely. Just want to say again, thank you for coming on to my podcast. I really do appreciate it. Work hard, play harder. Um,
Absolutely. I said, my pleasure, my honor.
absolutely. I want to know how's your week going so far.
It's going. I think probably like many of us, the events of last week have kind of cast a pall over a lot of different things and a lot of uncertainty and you know, dealing with all that's coming down the pike. So just trying to one foot in front of the other, one day at a time, get through. And yeah, that's all we can do right about now.
Absolutely, no question about it. Crazy week last week, kind of
Yeah.
a more calmer week this week, but yeah, like you said, there's some things on the horizon coming. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I want to reiterate to you why I wanted to have you on my podcast before I start peppering you with all these questions. I know you're an award-winning journalist and writer, I should say, writer and editor. I know that you are a director of communications for, if I'm not mistaken, the Ocala Breeder Sales
Yes.
Company.
Ocala Breeders Sales Company. Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm definitely intrigued to know about that position and exactly what you do, what kind of things that you write, what kind of things you edit. Because I'm a writer myself, sports writer
Mhm.
here based in Minnesota, and I've been in the journalism since for the past 6, 7 years with a combination of Atlanta and Minnesota here. I'm freelancer now, but I
Okay.
work in publications covering high schools, colleges, and now I do professional as well. So I love talking to different people who are in the communicative space about their why, because we rarely get a chance to do this, right? Sit down
Hmm.
and talk about each other, and people need to know everyone's story because everyone's story
Right.
is different, and your story is just as special as anyone else's. So I'm definitely happy to hear about yours. And with that being said, my first question to you, Alicia, is the same as it is with everybody on here, and that is, what is your why? What is your why of doing what you do? What is your did you have any role models, any inspirations growing up? But what is your
That
why
is
of doing journalism?
That is an exceptional question to start with.
Thank you.
I think for any of us who are in the journalism space, we know how challenging a space that is, especially over the last several years. The landscape has changed so much, and it's because, we've seen, unfortunately, so many publications laying off different reporters and writers and everything.
Sure.
This is just the journalism space, period, whether it's, print, online, photojournalism, anything. I feel like if you are committing yourself to be in this space, it has to come from this innate love and desire of not just telling stories, but of telling the truth, of getting the facts out there, getting people's stories out there, communicating that in the most
Right.
accurate way possible. And I feel like now more than ever, like the need for good solid journalism has probably never been more paramount, with everything that we've seen. So for my why as to how I kind of began my journey as a writer and a journalist, it's not something that I ever kind of set out as a goal. It's something that sort of happened where, just to take you back, when I was a sophomore in first of all, I always grew up as a sports fan. I was just, going with my dad, hockey games, get basketball games,
I
racetrack,
love it.
everything like
I
that.
love
So
it.
like I was just a sports fan
Okay.
growing up. And my sophomore year of college, I actually took a sports journalism class because quite frankly, my mindset was, well, if I have to sit through a 3 hour class on a Tuesday, I figured at least I can talk sports. That
Right.
was my main motivation with it. I was not a journalism major. I actually majored in history. Don't ask me what I was going to do with that, but but I did it. But I took my sports journalism class, and at the end of the class, I went to, just for background, I went to school in New York in Westchester County, Pace, which is in Pleasantville,
Ooh,
New York. And when the class is over, the gentleman who taught the class happened to be the assistant sports editor at the time for the Journal newspaper, which is the Gannett paper based out of White Plains. And he
okay.
reached out to me after class and said, "Hey, I think you did some really good stuff in class. We have an opening on our local sports desk part-time. Do you want to come work for us?" I was like, sure, okay. So I went there, met with him and some of the editors, and they hired me. And that's how I got my foundation. You mentioned yourself, covering college and high schools. To me, I feel like there's probably no better foundation as a sports journalist than covering high school sports. If you can
Without
handle
question.
covering high school sports, it's downhill
Hmm.
from there.
Hmm.
But that's how I
Okay.
started, was just on the local desk. I said covered all manners of high school sports, you name it, I covered it. Football, basketball, field hockey, lacrosse, the whole gamut of the schools there. While I was there though, I was 19 at the time when I started. I happened to be the only person on staff who because I was always a horse racing fan. Um I was the only person on staff who really knew or cared about horse racing. So they're like, "Oh, you like horse racing? Here, you go cover the horse racing." So they gave me a horse racing column at the age of 19. I don't think I was old enough to legally bet in the state of New York at the
Sure.
time, but I had a horse racing column and started covering
Okay.
like the local horse racing there and everything. And so that's how my career started, and it just kind of grew for working. Once I graduated from college, I started with the local paper in Greenwich, Connecticut. Same thing, covering like local sports, high school sports there and everything. Had a fantastic sports editor who gave us a lot of freedom to really kind of flex our muscles and write some more longer pieces and everything like that. And so what brought me out to Kentucky, I've been in Lexington for over 20 years now, was I got a job with the Thoroughbred Times magazine, which was a former racing industry publication that sadly no longer exists, as one of their racing writers. And I was there for a couple of years. Then I went to the Lexington Herald Leader, which is, the main McClatchy paper here, was with them for 12 years, 8 of which
Absolutely.
was as their horse racing beat writer. But again, it was kind of, started off there as just GA, covering a little bit of everything. I've served as a racing editor for Blood Horse magazine, another publication. Was previously director of communications for the National Thoroughbred Racing Association. And then I just started a month ago, my current role now, with Ocala Breeders Sales Company, which is a thoroughbred auction house based out of Ocala, Florida, as their director of communications. But while I've had many different roles, the thing that has just I've always held to is that desire to tell these stories, to tell these interesting stories, to tell them in an accurate way, to get narratives that I feel are so important out there. And so no matter where I've
Absolutely.
been, no matter what sport I've been covering, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's professional, whether it's horse racing, no matter what role I'm in, I feel like that's kind of the driving thing, is just that passion to get voices out there that may not be heard otherwise.
I feel that. I do. That's what's up. You talked about going to Pace University.
Hmm.
I want to know, were there any other schools that could have prevented, or not prevented, but persuaded you to not go to Pace University?
Well, the main colleges that I was looking at is I was looking at Pace, which is New York, and I'm originally from Connecticut, so UConn was my other
Okay, man. All
college that I
right.
was looking at. Especially, like, I kind of broke the chain. My mom, my father, and my sister all went to UConn. So
Wow.
I was the one that sort of broke, because so naturally, obviously I was looking at them because my whole family went there and everything like that. And so those were the main two I was looking at. A main reason, again, for better or for worse, one of the deciding factors for me with choosing a college was I've always loved horses, and I rode horses on and off just growing up and everything. And quite frankly, I wanted to go to a college that had an equestrian team on it. And so
Okay.
that's a
Hmm.
primary reason why I was looking at UConn and Pace, is they both had, a riding team on it, and UConn's equestrian team was pretty good. So I was like, oh shoot, look at that. But ultimately what swayed me to Pace was, it's a much smaller school, a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate. And honestly too, like my sister's 5.5 years older than me, and obviously we came up in the same school system. And I was like, it might not be a bad idea to go to a school where you're not Michelle's little sister. you
Sure. Sure.
I don't, because
Absolutely.
I said my sister, because my sister was, she was a cheerleader at UConn. She was very popular, very well known. Like I spent half of my high school years being called Michelle instead of Alicia because I had all of her same teachers, and everything. So I was like, why don't you try to be something other than Michelle's little sister? Love it to my sister, but like, why don't you try that for a little bit?
Absolutely. I love that. No, that's pretty dope. That's pretty cool. Fun fact, never rode a horse in my life, Alicia. I'm not saying that I wouldn't. I just have not. That's on the bucket list. I don't know what number it is on the bucket list, but it's definitely on there for sure at some point. But yeah, I just throwing fun facts out there. Never rode a horse, so it's always great to meet somebody to do something that you aspire to do, but you haven't
Hmm,
done. I want to ask you some favorite questions. If
sure.
you can give me some favorites off the rip, based upon these questions. Are you with me?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Favorite meal you like to cook?
Favorite meal I like to cook. Right now, especially since it's getting colder, I'm in my chili phase
Ooh,
of doing some good. And I do a good chili too, because I do it with the dark beer. I put the can of dark beer in there too and everything. And I don't put beans in my either. I just like a good meaty chili. I will also put some veggies in there, but like right now I'm in kind of my like cozy food phase. So I've been making chili. I also make a pretty good eggplant parmesan. I'm not gonna, that's pretty good. I also do, for what I do for Christmas every year, I do boeuf bourguignon from Julia Child's cookbook and everything. So
now what's
yeah,
that?
it's basically it's a wonderful, basically like a stew of, you get like the chunks of the beef of the stew meat, and then you braise it all with bacon and veggies, and you braise it all in red wine and a beef broth and everything, and it's bomb. It is, yeah, it's pretty good. But I said I actually very much like to cook. I find that's kind of like my zen and my chill is, when everything's going on, I can put my music on, start chopping my stuff up and everything. So, but yeah, right now I said I'm making a lot of like chilies and casseroles and such these days.
Okay, now you're gonna have me pull up to Kentucky for that
There you
reason.
go. Come on up.
I'm trying to see what's good with you. I like that. Chili. Now normally I have chili with Ritz crackers. I don't know if you do that, but I love my chili with Ritz crackers.
Have you ever had chili over white rice?
Nah, I don't think I have
My
that. No.
mom used to make it like that growing up, and I still do that to this day. Try chili
Okay.
over white rice.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
definitely gonna have to see about that for sure. No question. Okay, I'm
yeah.
with you on that. Favorite concert you've ever attended?
Ooh, I was actually just having this conversation with my husband the other day. You know who and I've seen a lot of great people. Like I saw Beyonce this year, of course, she's incredible. I think probably if I had to pick a best concert, Sade.
Ooh, okay. I like
Yeah.
that. You're old school with me. I like that though.
Because like she rarely tours. She's like Haley's Comet. She comes around like once every 75 years. And her
Right.
last tour that she did a handful of years ago, because if you're a child of the 80s like myself, you grew up listening to Sade and all that genre. And so when she came out with her latest album years ago when she toured, I told my husband, I was like, if she's coming anywhere within driving distance, we're going, because I've never seen her live. I grew up on her music. We're going. So we went and saw her in Chicago, and
Mm.
like 3 songs in, I was like, this is the greatest concert I've ever seen in my life. Like her voice was just impeccable. The band, you know, because they've been together for eons. The band was just tight. She still hasn't aged. She still looks the same as she did from Smooth Operator, which is
Beautiful,
amazing.
beautiful.
But the whole production value was incredible. When she did Is It a Crime, I think it might be the greatest live vocal that I've ever heard. It was just, it
Wow, here
was
you go. Okay.
yeah. So like I said, we've seen some incredible concerts. Actually, the one we most recently saw, completely opposite end of the spectrum from Sade, was 21 Pilots. We actually just saw them a few weeks ago up in
Absolutely. They're
Columbus.
pretty good.
Again, one of the greatest live bands I've seen. Like they blew me away.
Yep.
Absolutely blew me away. But if I had like the concert where, like I said, that resonated, like I said, few songs that I was like, this is the best show I've ever seen. I'm gonna go with Sade.
Okay. Cool beans. I like that. Alicia Keys was definitely something for me.
See, I haven't seen her yet.
She was amazing on that piano singing. She was just amazing. I think another one that was pretty good that I thought I was like, wow, this is something was Jay-Z Kanye. That concert was
I wish
amazing.
I'd seen that tour. I
That
wish
Watch
I'd
the
seen that
Throne
tour.
tour was amazing back then. No question about
Yeah.
it. It was amazing. Favorite place you've ever traveled to?
Can I have a tie?
Sure,
Might be
give
a
me two
tie.
of them. Give me two of them.
Napa, California, and Florence, Italy.
Wow, those are very two different ends of the spectrum as well. Okay, Napa is wine country. I mean,
Yes,
that's
we are. Yeah. We've been to Napa 3 times now. I joke because my husband and I, we actually met at a wine tasting, not in Napa. We met at a wine tasting here in Kentucky, but we met at a wine tasting. We got married at a vineyard, and we honeymooned in Napa. So like wine is been tying us together this whole
okay.
time.
Now, shout out to your husband. Now, that's what's up. I like that. He got some good taste. You got some good
Uh,
taste. Question.
but yeah, Napa is incredible because like that's all you have to do is just eat and drink the whole time you're out there. So you're visiting these incredible vineyards and this incredible
Yep.
food and everything like that. And Florence, Italy, we went to Florence, and Italian food is our favorite food as is.
Yep.
In Florence, Italy, like you could stagger into any mom and pop place off the street and have the best meal of your life. The food there was just incredible, and the people there were so warm and so welcoming. It's like, you know how you meet somebody and you feel like you just vibe with them right away.
Absolutely.
Like we got in like the first shops that we went into in Florence. It's like, okay, I vibe with you, Florence. I like it was just that sort of thing. Absolutely, wonderful cities, easy to just walk around and see everything, and the best food you'll ever eat in your life. Like it was would absolutely want to go back to Florence at some point.
Absolutely. That's on the bucket list for me, for
Mm.
sure. I have not been to Italy, but I love Italian food, and I'm sure the culture is going to be beautiful out there. So
Yeah.
that's definitely on the bucket list for sure. I'm a sports person. So favorite sport you like to watch on TV, favorite sport you like to attend in person. They could be the same sport.
I like watching so I think probably still to this day, my favorite sport to watch on TV is hockey. I grew
Okay.
up as I'm from Connecticut, and I grew up as a Devils fan, New Jersey Devils.
Cool.
Um, and yeah, and I was a fan of them in the 80s when they were terrible. Like I'm not bandwagon. I was there in the early 80s when they were a hot mess. Um,
Right.
but I always have a running joke with some friends. I was like, there is nothing in the world that beats playoff hockey. Playoff hockey to me is the absolute most entertaining sport. To like I said, I'm like the only thing that beats playoff hockey is overtime playoff hockey. Just the like I absolutely love it. And two, that's another sport too where I feel if you see a hockey game live, you'll absolutely get sucked in because just kind of the vibe and feel the energy and the puck right there and everything like that. Um, so those actually might be one in the same as far as favorite sport to watch and favorite sport to watch live. I think I'll probably give it up to ice hockey.
Okay. I like that. I'm more basketball, football, but Listen, hockey here. I'm in Minnesota, so they love.
Oh, there you go. You got the Wild.
Yes, they love and worship the Wild here. So I do like going to the Wild games. But I just love the food, the cold beverages, the beer, the atmosphere, just everything. Just vibing with that and being
Yeah.
able to see them hit each other off that glass. I'm with that. So I love
Yeah.
that. Um, Last of the favorites. Favorite restaurant that you like to eat at?
Mm.
I'm a huge foodie person, Alicia, so I definitely love some food places, especially when I pull up out there.
For here in Lexington, there's a place called OBC Kitchen in Lexington. They have their regular short rib dish, and their short rib tacos are awesome. They also do a ribeye that is phenomenal. They serve it with a like a Cabernet sauce and fingerling potatoes, and it's got that nice because when you have a ribeye, you got to have the nice crust on it and everything.
You do.
Yeah. So OBC Kitchen is usually one of my go-tos as far if I have people in town or people visiting Lexington, that's the place that I take them to. Outside of Lexington, an hour away in Cincinnati, speaking of Italian food, there's a fantastic restaurant there called Soto, which is a little Italian place. And again, their food is probably some of the best Italian food I've had outside of Italy. Apparently like Drake went there. So Serena Williams years ago when she was playing the tennis tournament in Cincinnati,
Sure.
she like went to Soto and got the private room and everything. So yeah, so it's good enough for Serena. It's good enough to Drake for Drake. So if you're ever in
Good
Cincinnati,
enough for me.
yeah, go
That's for
check.
sure.
They do book up though. Like that's the thing is you can trying to get into Soto can be a task because they do book up quickly.
Absolutely. Okay. I like that. Soto. Okay. So I'm gonna keep that in mind. Like I said, whenever I do pull up, I definitely have to hit you up and say hey to you and definitely roll over to that restaurant for sure. No question. Um, let's talk about your day to day.
Mhm.
And let's talk about, obviously as journalists, writers, our day is never the same. It
Right.
always differentiates every single day. So for me, I particularly now that I'm freelance, I'm making calls. Sometimes people call me. I have a substitute teacher on the side, but also have another job on the side as well. So my days and weeks differentiate all the time, and it's not an 8 to 4, 9 to 5 type of office kind of job. I want to know, what do you do on your day to day basis now as a new role as director of communications for the Ocala Breeders Sales Company?
Well, my day to day, like I said, and this is actually they have like this is a new role for them. They have not actually had anybody who has been in a communications role before. So a lot of this is sort of I'm starting from scratch.
You
Um,
starting fresh.
yeah, starting from scratch with a lot of things there. So some of my and I'm also trying to remind myself because like, okay, you've only been there a month. You don't have to achieve everything in the first week on the job. It's okay to baby step this because you got a lot of ground that you're gonna have to cover. So for me, what I've been trying to focus on kind of like the day to day or just kind of the early stages with this job is first of all, things like building up their social media presence, because that's one of the areas where they had kind of been struggling. They weren't posting very much on like Twitter or Facebook and things like that. So that's been one of my main priorities is kind of building up their social media presence, having more content on there, more frequent posting, following more different people on there, hoping to get, so that they can gain some more followers and get their news and everything like that. So I'm kind of focused on building that up, building up even just like their media library of images to use and things like that, like
Okay.
different images of the different race horses and everything that we can use, coming up with different ideas for them for content because like I said their business is, like I said, they're a thoroughbred auction company. So what they do is they sell primarily horses who are 2-year-olds who are just starting out, haven't been on the racetrack
Baby.
yet. So
Yes.
they sell these 2-year-old babies, and And from their auction is, that's when, they start hitting the racetrack from there. So one of the things, obviously, they're always trying to kind of promote are those horses who have been sold at Ocala Breeders Sales Company and then gone on to kind of great success, on like, the major stakes races or most famous races, like, the Triple Crown races, Kentucky Derby, Preakness,
Breeders' Cup, all
things
that.
like Breeders' Cup. We had a number of OBS graduates in Breeders' Cup. So that's what I've been trying to do is, gather the information on like how many grads do we have that are going to be participating in these top races. What I did for Breeders' Cup is I started doing like some little features to kind of spotlight some of those OBS graduates who are going to be running in Breeders' Cup and things like that. So doing stories on them that I can send out to the media and things like that. I'm working on building up media kits for each of their sales, so that compiling all of the historical information for each of their sales, so that when you have media coming in to cover, they have all these statistics at their disposal of, oh, here's what the top gross was, what the median was, here's a sales topper from these past years. So kind of gathering all of those statistics so that, like I said, we can facilitate the media that does want to come in and make their job easier. Another thing that I'm working on is trying to secure a photographer for the company that can provide photos for editorial use, things like that. So
Oh,
I'm also been working with the marketing team there to kind of come up with some strategies for the years ahead, or for the year ahead, to try to promote, the graduates of OBS, kind of spotlight, all of the top horses who have come out of there and things like that. So it's a lot. So like I said, it's a lot of things that I'm kind of trying to build from scratch, and I'm trying to calm myself down of, okay, kind of, you don't have to do everything at once here, try to knock out this, try to knock out that, try to knock out this. But we've already had some good success with, like I said, just putting out some of those feature stories on the different horses. Some publications have run those and put those up, and, we've gained a decent amount of followers already just on Twitter in the past month, just putting out different content and things like that. So work in progress there.
I love it. You seem like you are working. There ain't no question about it. I respect that and I acknowledge that and I love that about you. That's no doubt. Let's talk about mental health though and work-life
Mm,
balance. You know, we want to work hard, we want to play harder, I should say. But in this industry, you're going to have a lot of people sometimes that go out of this industry for various reasons. Some of them are mental health and the
yeah.
work life balance. I've known colleagues that pivoted and done different things. I'm sure in your time in this industry, you've had colleagues that pivoted and done different things. Talk to me about how you keep your mental health being strong and also your work life balance, right? You're a wife, but you also have a job as a director, an important hierarchy job, but you're doing a lot of different things as well. You obviously have friends and family. You certainly is somebody I wouldn't mind hanging out with at all. Very personable person, but you also seem about your business as well. So, how do you balance that work life balance, but also maintain good mental health so you don't get burnt out and overworked?
Ooh, again, this is like such a key question, such a key topic, because mental health it's so paramount, and it's something that we're still, in general, as a society, there's still a stigma around it, because it's not like a physical setback. If you get sick, or if you break a leg, if your leg is in a cast, people can see that.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like, oh, you
right,
broke a leg, how could I help? But if you're struggling mentally, like, it's not something people can see, it's not tangible. And so I feel like society still has a hard time of just grasping it. And quite frankly, I feel
oh yeah,
like, and this is especially true in journalism, just the whole grind culture, the grind mentality is kind of
hmm
been glorified. And that's something I think, especially in journalism, we all have to battle, because we're on the 24/7 news cycle now, with everything online, everything like that. 24/7 news cycle. And it's, especially my background covering horse racing. Horse racing's hours are non-traditional hours. Training hours are very early in the morning. You got horses going out first set at like 5 a.m., but then the racing itself is not until the afternoon.
right.
So there's points of the year, especially, if it's Kentucky Derby week and I'm out there on the backstretch for a week, where you're literally going from about 5 in the morning and you could be going until 7, 8 at night. And you're doing
Absolutely.
that for stretches at a time, and then filing, I don't even know how many stories a day. I think my record is 6 a day that filed. So trying to carve out that time for yourself is so important. And I feel like that's been even amplified because sadly I've had some colleagues who have been laid off, who have lost their jobs, and that to
Yeah.
me kind of drives it home of, like I said, we work hard, we do, what we do have to do to succeed. Never
Right.
sacrifice yourself or what's important for your work though, because this industry is, and this is not just journalism, this is capitalism.
Any industry.
This is
Yeah.
capitalism. You can do all you can, and they can cut you tomorrow, and it will not have anything to do with your performance. They're just looking at bottom
Right.
line. But they will
Right.
cut you tomorrow or something, or have a new job posted the next day. So it's like, don't ever be overly loyal, to the machine there. So for
Hmm.
me, like I said, easier said than done sometimes when you're in it. But for me, it can just be little things of making sure I take, we have a 3.5-month-old Labrador retriever. I'm sorry, 3.5 year old. She's 3 now. Labrador
Okay.
retriever dog. So for me, it's making sure, take an hour to go to a dog park and bring her to the dog park and get outside and watch her
Okay.
run and watch her play and play with her. um it's also like, I do like to keep physically active, so it's making sure it's like make time for myself every day to do something physically, whether it's hop on the spin bike, do a half-hour Peloton class, whatever, do a strength class, do some lifting, but kind of carve out that time to do something for yourself, even, every day, even if the day is like crazy and I feel like I don't have time, it's like, okay, do like 5 minutes of core, something like that, or like 10 minutes of like an arm workout, just something. Um,
Right.
to have that for yourself and everything. Like I said, when I have time, I said I do like to try to carve out time to just cook, so that you're not just running out, getting takeout, and things like that. And so, but I feel like it's you making that concerted effort of, I'm going to take this 30 minutes or however I have, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to, I like to be physically active. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to hop on a bike. I'm gonna go do some strength training, whatever that is for myself. I'm gonna make
Right.
sure that I take this hour, take Sophie to the dog park and get outside, especially now it's beautiful fall weather. Look at, even things like look around, look at the leaves, look at these beautiful colors we have, with this fall weather and everything. Take a moment to just kind of like, we have a beautiful walking trail. We're fortunate in our neighborhood. I go on the walking
Okay.
trail, and it's just like, oh, it's so beautiful right now because it got all the colors and everything like that. So it's like, take that moment and just breathe, even if, or 5 minutes for a meditation, even things like that. Or even if it's just, if you have a show you like to watch over and over again, put your show on, and
Yep.
just decompress.
Absolutely.
So, whatever that is giving back to yourself, that is your self-care, it's just making the effort to do that to you, because you have to invest in yourself. You have to prioritize yourself. You have to prioritize your people and your community and those you care about. We have to do this work. We have to, but don't let that grind culture tell you you're not enough, you're not doing enough. No, because what's gonna, again, big picture, what's gonna be more important, So do not sacrifice yourself, don't sacrifice your people, don't sacrifice your health, don't sacrifice your family, don't sacrifice your relationships for a job that could literally cut you tomorrow.
Absolutely. And I tell my young boys and my young girls here in high school and college, know your worth. Understand that. And listen, when you're first starting out, you're in improvement mode.
Right.
Everybody is, right? Because you want to be able to be like, okay, I want to show the bosses and the masses that, you made the right decision in picking me.
Mhm.
And I get that. But you also can't lose what your worth is. You never want to put too much onus on any job, because if always, again, I tell my young boys and girls, if they want you, they will make it happen to get you.
Right.
And if they don't want you, they will make it happen to get rid of you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you can't put all your stuff into jobs. You have to. It's a give and take business, especially with any job, but journalism to speak on it because that's what we know. It's a
Right.
give and take business, right?
Yeah.
I'm doing these articles, I'm doing this journalism, I'm doing this communicative stuff, but I'm not doing it for free.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you're not gonna pay me chump change either to do it. I know the market, I know what it is, and you have to be confident in doing that. And you gotta have a certain kind of ego, not like overconfidence or arrogance, but an ego, because you gotta think, for lack of a better term, that you the shit. You gotta kind of think that in these roles because you got to have a certain type of confidence being in a communicative space. We talk, we're out and about. We are an advocate for people. Like you said, you're on social media, so you're representing your company. You got to have that in your mindset of, I'm the best representative for this company. I'm the best director of communications, right? And that's in mind. It's not saying that, oh, well, I'm arrogant and I'm all this, but no, this is what I do. This is why you hired me,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna show you why you should have hired me, and why you should keep me on your staff. And
Right.
that's the same kind of mindset that I try to advocate to people about being in journalism and being in any kind of communicative space. You have to have that ego to you, but you also have to have a mindset of, like you said, this is the A side and B side.
Mm-hmm.
And you broke it down, right? The A side is what we do: storytelling, communicative, being like that, being an advocate, and all that. But the B side is understand that you may be working hours that are very different. Like you said, horses 5 o'clock in the morning. Most people don't have business hour type jobs that early in the morning and out
Mm-hmm.
thing. You may have to miss holidays. You may have to miss special celebrations with your family. You may have to cover stories or do stories you don't want to do, which in this industry is going to happen at some point. Um, that's why I live by the mantra, Alicia: be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Be comfortable being uncomfortable. I live by that. That's just not a journalism thing. That's a Chris thing, and I love to live my life like that because it hardens you as a person. It also shapes your character, in my opinion, and it allows you to handle tough situations. Because
Yes.
if you're built for this, then you're gonna do this. This is something that you're
Mm-hmm.
going to do. If you're not, it will weed you out.
Yes.
So you have to get into this for the right reasons, and that's why I
Yeah.
do podcasts, because people need to know the A side and the B side of things
Yes.
for making a decision like that.
So
So
yeah, all like I said, all of that. Like I said, especially like I said, you know, you talk about missing holidays and things like that, like for you, because Churchill Downs, which obviously is the home of the Kentucky Derby, they
yeah,
also have their fall meet, and they have several actually major races the day after Thanksgiving. So for years, like we never went anywhere to be like we could never visit family or anything for Thanksgiving because it's like I gotta work the next day. I gotta be out at Churchill the next morning and things like that. So it's just but that's kind of it is what it is, that sort of thing. But like I said, you definitely have to have that love and that passion to stay in this. Like I said, if you don't love it, it's going to weed out people real quick, real quick,
absolutely,
you
no
know.
question. Now, what is some advice that you would give to somebody? Say if somebody wanted to come and do your job, right? Be a director of communications, or maybe be a journalist at a publication. What is some advice that you would give an individual, maybe an intern or postgraduate, or maybe somebody seasoned like myself? I'm in my 30s. So, what kind of advice would you give them?
I feel like general advice is just sort of getting into the industry is, like I said, as we had just talked about, touched upon, you better love it. You better have a passion for it. If you're getting into this space because you think you're going to get rich, guess what? I don't know if anybody's seen journalist salaries these days. That's it.
Whew. Lord have
Yeah,
mercy.
exactly. Tough said right there. So if somebody's getting into this space because they think they're going to get rich, they're going to get attention, they're going to get accolade, some accolades. No, this is not, you know, this is
That's
not
not the
the
industry for you.
journey.
Yep,
But if they have that innate love, if they have that innate passion, if they want this they want to tell the stories, if they want this kind of creative outlet, if they want to get voices out there. Absolutely. You talk about know your worth. I think that is a huge thing. One of the things, especially that I tell young writers, which is with internships, me personally, do not ever take unpaid internships. Unpaid internships are based in privilege, and your time and your work is worth money. You know, it is worth it. And I'm always very uncomfortable, especially with some of these legacy publications that do an unpaid internship, because it, by the nature of what it is, not everybody has the means. Like, first of all, just the whole concept of working for free, like what?
Right.
You know, but also it's like you have to have the means to be able to do that, which means you have
Absolutely.
to have that kind of support system coming in. So like I said, it's kind of a system that's built on privilege of somebody who has that kind of, whether it's their parent or whoever, who can basically bankroll them to get this opportunity. That's
Sure.
not something that everybody has. So I always try to stress to young people, it's like, I know that internships can, you know, can be a big deal, but don't be afraid to take one at not a legacy publication. You know, there, like I said, probably some of the best, most valuable things that I learned was working on a 3-man staff on the sports desk at the Greenwich Time newspaper in Connecticut, because there was 3 of us and we had to do everything. Write,
Sure.
report, paginate, lay out the pages, you know,
Yep.
move the photos over in Photoshop. We had to do everything, but it was the absolute best training ground because you had to learn how to handle everything. And because there
Yep.
was only 3 of us, you know, we had to work together. You know, there was,
Sure.
you
Sure.
know, like I said, we had a great sports editor who, you know, who was so supportive of us and everything like that. But don't be afraid to, you know, don't think, oh, if I don't get hooked on with a big name. No, no, no. Don't be afraid to go to not a legacy publication. Do not take unpaid internships. Have that passion. Know your worth. Don't let yourself get taken advantage of, and try to build as much community as possible in that space, so that you can find some mentors, so that you do have somebody to go to, you know, whether it's just asking a question of how to do something, or if you are subjected to something that is making you uncomfortable, that you have that sounding board and that support system too, because that is also very key in this space, is making sure you have that kind of community around you who can, you know, who can validate you, who can build you up, you know, who can build you up, who can then pull you up. If you reach, you know, if that person reaches a certain level, always pull somebody up behind you. You don't pull the ladder up behind you. You see who you can pull up with you, no matter what,
Absolutely.
you know, no matter what level you're at. So, you know, that's kind of overreaching kind of advice.
No, I listen, I appreciate that. And thank you for that. You've been giving great answers all along. So please don't stop. Don't stop as we continue on, okay? So no doubt. We are at the portion of the podcast though, now that we're doing my interactive game, which is called This or That. So
Ooh,
basically what I'm doing here is I'm gonna throw some things out at you and you get to choose this or that. So Alicia, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. So the first, we've been vibing all podcast episode long. So here we goes, girl. This first one here is pretty important.
Okay,
Which restaurant are you choosing? Popeyes or KFC?
Popeyes.
I'm like, damn, is there any other choice? I
Yeah.
was just like, yo, well, you look to the side. I was like, okay, all right, I'm with you. All right, chicken wing flavors, barbecue or lemon pepper.
Barbecue.
Okay, do you like your wings wet or dry?
Wet.
Okay, do you like your wings bone in or boneless?
I think bone-in has more flavor.
Okay, so you like to get a little messy. Okay, I'm with you. Listen, hey, I'm with you on that. Get messy, get a
I mean,
wet
I'm
wipe.
not mad at boneless. I'm not mad at boneless.
No, no, me neither,
Yeah.
because it's still meat. We gonna
Yeah.
tear it up either way. It don't matter.
Yeah.
But get a wet wipe and go to work. I like
Yes.
that. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, cool beans. These next four have to do with music concerts you rather attend. Okay, so first one up. Which music concert would you rather go to? Boys the Men or New Edition?
New addition for the nostalgia.
Okay, I'm with you on that. I'm with you. I would choose New Edition as well.
Yeah.
Okay, which concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Whitney Houston or Janet Jackson?
Janet.
I'm with you on that. Okay, okay. Which music concert would you rather go to? Would you rather go see Kendrick Lamar or Drake?
Kendrick. I've seen Drake 3 times. I have not seen Kendrick. And honestly, like I said, the last time we saw Drake on this most recent tour, disappointed.
I'm sure. I'm
I did
sure.
I just he wasn't great. Like the first couple times we saw him, because I saw him when he was with Future and when he toured with Migos, and it was good. This last time, honestly, sorry, Drake, it felt lazy. It felt lazy. He was doing like just a thing where he was doing like snippets, and I get it. He has so many hits, but he was just doing like 30-second snippets of each song. So it was like you couldn't like they start playing it, like, oh yeah, passion fruit. Oh nope, that's gone. And we're on, so
Is that
and
the one you went with J. Cole?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because we originally bought tickets when it was him and 21 Savage, and then he canceled the concert twice, so I was also salty with that too. And then by the time he went and rebooked it, it was him and J. Cole, and I was like, I was all set to hear Knife Talk live and Jimmy Cooks live with 21 Savage, and so yeah. So, but I
Mm.
honestly I thought this time it felt like he's resting on his laurels. I didn't feel like he was pushing it. So yeah,
I feel you on that.
Kendrick. Kendrick.
Wow,
Yeah.
you are winning me. You are winning me over, Alicia. No
Not
doubt
like
about it.
us.
You are winning me over. That's all I have to say. I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. Music concert. Which one would you rather go see, Lil Wayne or Big Sean?
I feel like I need to preface this. If we're
Okay.
talking, if we're talking Lil Wayne from like 10 years ago, Lil Wayne. If we're talking Lil Wayne, and you know where I'm going with this. Lil
Mm-hmm.
Wayne, because he just played Lexington, or not like I think he played Louisville like a few weeks ago, and I was contemplating going. The Lil I said, all respect to Wheezy, all respect to him. But Lil Wayne 10 years ago, no brainer. Lil Wayne, who doesn't remember half his lyrics, Big Sean.
I feel you on that because I'm a huge Lil Wayne mixtape person. So you talking about like dedication, you
Hmm.
talking about like Carter 3, you talking about
Yes.
Carter
Yeah.
2. Yeah, I'm with you on that. That's
Yeah.
when Wayne was going hard. I love that.
Yeah.
Big Sean does have the Dark Sky Paradise album, which that one, oof, that was a good album by Big
Yeah.
Sean. I love that one. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
Which sport would you rather play, badminton or bowling?
Oh God. Badminton. Because I love tennis. And that's like, I mean, I don't play tennis, but I love the sport of tennis, so badminton.
Which game would you rather play, dominoes or spades?
Probably dominoes.
Okay. Do you know how to play dominoes?
Not really. Here, but here's another thing.
Okay.
You might have to shut the podcast off when I say this. I don't know how
Okay.
to I don't know how to play spades either.
Okay. You know what? So I'm gonna tell you this. These are cookout games. So
I know.
if you
I
gonna
grew
come to the
up
cookout,
watching them play. I grew up
right,
watching my
right.
mom. I grew up, but nobody ever taught me how to play spades.
Okay. So listen, uh, say less. Next time I
No.
pull up, if I pull up when I pull up to Kentucky, because I like going to the UK basketball game, so I'm gonna wait
Mhm.
till the basketball games get a little later in the year. I'm gonna pull up and we're gonna play some spades.
All right.
Say less. Okay, cool. You gotta know you gotta know cookout
I
games.
know. I know.
Watching is good, don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
you gotta know how to play. Everybody gotta have a partner. You know what I mean? So here we go. That's all right. Which sport would you rather watch on TV? Would you rather watch baseball or basketball?
Basketball.
Okay, got you. Do you like desserts?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna name
That's
four
why I'm on
desserts.
that spin bike. That's why I'm sitting there on that spin bike spinning myself. Yeah.
I love that. I love it. I love to hear that. Now I'm gonna name four categories of desserts. You got to choose one of these that you would never eat again.
Hmm.
All right, so here we go.
Okay.
The first one is cookies.
I love cookies.
The next one is cake.
Love cake.
The third one is ice cream.
Mhm.
The last one is candy. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
I'll get rid of candy.
Okay, I'm with you on that,
Yeah.
girl. I would have got rid of
Yeah.
the same thing. What's your favorite ice cream?
Um, God, there's so many. I love as a broad flavor, I love a mint chocolate chip. Specific flavor, what is it called? Like there's a brand of ice cream, I think it's called like Van Leeuwen or something like that. They
I know what
have,
you're talking about.
yeah, you know what I'm talking about? They have a honeycomb ice cream that is
Somebody's been telling me about this honeycomb.
the
Now, the only
honeycomb.
honeycomb I
Oh,
know is the cereal.
no, they have a honeycomb ice cream. It is that is I like I could only buy it like once in a while because it's like it's so good. It's so
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna have to try that
Yeah.
honeycomb ice cream. Okay, say less. Do you like potato chips?
Yes.
Okay, same format. You got to get rid of a brand out of these four. Okay, that you'll never eat again. First one up is Pringles.
Mhm.
The second one is Lay's. The third one is Ruffles. The last one is Doritos. Which one are you getting rid of that you'll never eat again?
Pringles.
Okay, I ain't mad at that. Not mad
Yeah.
at that at all. All right.
Doritos has to stay. Doritos, those are my weakness.
Okay.
I
Okay.
can't keep them in the house. Yeah, Doritos got to stay. So yeah.
Okay. Now, are you a salt and vinegar person?
No. No.
Okay, good, good. Because that's the second worst chip ever made.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Second worst chip ever made. No
I
question.
no. Why? Why though?
Right.
Why
Right.
though?
Like I don't understand. And the first worst chip is Funyuns. Whoever the hell made Funyuns need to just be
Oh my
slapped with
God. I
the
haven't seen Funyuns in forever. They still make those?
they do. Unfortunately, I just want to smack them right off the shelf and step on the bag. I want to do it, but
Oh
I
my
know
God.
I'm gonna get in trouble if I do that at the grocery store. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they're absolutely horrible. They're terrible. There's no question about that. Okay, you did pretty good, Alicia, on this or that.
Okay.
I want to ask this next question though, and this is: if you wasn't in the field of communication or journalism, what career path would you have chosen to do and why?
I have no idea. That is a good question because like I said I majored in history
Okay.
basically just because I was good at it. I don't know what I was going to do with it. Like I didn't have any desire to be a teacher or anything like that. And like I said, I just, I got into journalism my sophomore year, thankfully, of college. That's a good question. I don't know. I don't know where I would have ended up if I didn't get into writing and
Um,
journalism and who I remember I had a psychology professor who really like he always joked. He's like, oh, you're so good in class here, what you need to do is go and go to school and do this and come back and take my job one day. Maybe that's what I would have done. Maybe I would have, I think, is maybe in, I don't know if I was thought of it then, but something in like the mental health field,
I
something
can certainly
like it
see
felt
that.
like I could like that is I said if I could do something else, that is something, maybe something with like mental health or social justice, something along those kind of lines.
I love it. I love it. Do you miss being at a publication, going out covering different events, or is this the kind of the job of being a director of communications for actual, horses, something that you've always aspired to do?
I mean, I think there's definitely, yeah, there's definitely aspects of that whole kind of day to day. I mean, there's some stuff that comes down like down the pike and you're like, oh Lord, and you don't want anything. But yeah, I
Right.
do. But yeah, there is still, yeah, I kind of love that storytelling, that reporting, that finding things out, things like that. Yeah, I think that it's you know yeah, I do. I love it. I still miss it. I still, I do still freelance, for some different kind of publications. So I still get to kind of keep my toe in it and that front. But it's like, but no, like I've had like some great, like I said, some of the events, some of the sports that I've covered, things. It's like incredible. And even just, in just the camaraderie amongst the other journalists, like some of my best friends, I would have never met them if it weren't for being in this space and everything like that.
Absolutely.
Because especially like we get each, like just journalists in general, we're a different breed. We get each other. Um,
Absolutely. No question.
and things like that. But there are so many amazing sporting moments that I've been able to witness, not just in horse racing, but like, back when I was with the Greenwich Time, since we were so close to New York, we used to cover the US Open tennis tournament every year. So like the first ever all Williams final, I was there for that. You
Oh,
know,
wow.
yeah,
Okay.
right. Yeah. Um things like that, seeing be able to see a young Serena, a young Venus coming up like that. Absolutely incredible things like that. So yeah, it's those moments are really kind of special.
Yeah, I definitely miss being at the section championships, the state championships, those kind of
Yeah.
games of being at there because those are big games for the community. And that's when stores close down, especially in the small towns. That's when everybody comes to the games and it's packed, and you got one side cheering one side on the other side. Taking that drive up to Minneapolis is something I loved. I miss because
Yeah.
when you go to Minneapolis, you're covering the state. You have the U.S. Bank, whether it's football or U of M or Target Center was basketball. Me covering a state champion in basketball was one of the most thrills of my life. I
Oh
love
yeah.
being on the court, being able to, have my credential, being able to take the pictures, being able to follow the team in that beat. You miss it. But I also do love the fact that I am freelance too, because the opportunity now to be able to hone in on my podcast, to be able to substitute teach, to be able to have more time, to be able to take off and travel. I love traveling. I just got my
Yeah.
passport this year. I want to be able to go to some different places, to be able to pick and choose my assignments and not have to always cover a off-brand sport where the team is 0-18. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. So it has its pros and cons, but I love asking that question too for sure. Advice. We talked about advice we would give, or you would give, per se, to people joining this industry. But what advice has someone gave you that you hold on dearly to?
Um, I think, and again, I've been fortunate to have numerous different people, um, as part of my journey over the years. I think just kind of that general message of know your worth. Especially, we all have doubts, even though like,
Sure.
I've been doing this, you know, I've been doing this about 30 years now, Lord help me. And
Mm,
you still, you know, I feel like every reporter, every journalist still has doubts. Like any like if I make a, if I'm reaching out to somebody for a story and they don't get back to me right away, it's like, oh God, what did I do? Did I do something? Do they all of a sudden hate me? Like even though
right,
it could be somebody that I've interviewed umpteen times, but you always have those little moments and doubts and
right.
insecurities. And so
Just
I
wondering what did you do, or
what did I do?
right?
Or it's
What
just
did I
like
do?
instead of thinking, oh, it's life, they just might be busy. Give them a minute,
Right,
Um,
right,
but I think just knowing your worth and trusting your gut too on different on your trusting your gut and trusting your instincts and specific to the writing process. One of the things that was instilled in me that I still remind myself to this day of just when I'm writing a story is get out of your own way sometimes. Let the story come to you. Don't force the story. Never go into a story already with an idea of what it's gonna be. Let the
right.
story come to you. And I think I remember reading, I think it was Rick Riley, who wrote for many, many years for Sports Illustrated. And
Oh yeah, definitely know
yeah,
them.
yeah, and I think I think a specific piece of advice I think that he read is the bigger the story, the smaller the focus, kind of a thing. And I think he was I think he was talking about a reference. I think it was was it Jack Nicklaus's win at the US Open or something like that, and how so many reporters were freaking out of, oh my God, it's such a big moment. How do I do this? And he's kind of like, the bigger the story, the smaller the focus, and kind of just get out of your own way and just let it come, let it flow, let the story come to you. And just I still tell myself to that day, before I sit down and write any story, any feature, I literally sit there and take a moment. It's like, what's the story here? What's the story? What's the main point? And just kind of let it flow and
Sure.
have it like that. So I feel like that to the writing process is kind of a good thing. It's just, let it come to you. Don't go in preconceived notions. Don't force anything. Don't come, just let it come to you, because you'll be surprised what you get sometimes. There's a lot of stories I've gone into thinking I'm going to get this, and it turns into something else, or even things I didn't think were going to be that big deal of a story, and all of a sudden you get to report it and you're like, oh shoot, and so just,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I love that. I do. That's amazing. We're almost coming to the end of the podcast. I want to do some rapid fire with you, though.
Mhm.
I want to ask you just some questions, and you just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you with me, Alicia?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Burgers or tacos?
Tacos.
Waffles or pancakes?
Waffles.
Chicken or ribs?
Ribs.
Favorite color?
Black.
Favorite board game?
Oh, I haven't played board games in forever.
Mm,
I used to kill still Monopoly though.
okay, I'm with you on that. I'm a beast when it comes to boardwalk place now. When I get both of them, that's it
Yeah.
for you. I'm trying to tell you. Okay, I'm with you on that. Favorite alcoholic drink?
Wine, specifically any kind of like sweet Moscato wine.
Ooh, okay. You like the good-ish. I like
Yes.
that. Okay, that's what's up. I'm with you on that, Alicia. I'm with you on that. I like a good Cabernet as well, though.
Mhm.
Cabernet's okay. If you had three people plus you, which makes four, to take on vacation, where would you go and who would you take?
Obviously, I gotta take my husband, right? So that's one of the spots.
Well, you could. I mean, there's been some people that have left their husband off the list, though. I'm just going to say.
Um, in my fantasy, so I got three people to take with me. With respect to my husband, I think the first person I would take with me is Lewis Hamilton, the Formula One
Oh,
driver. I would give me some Lewis Hamilton. Give me Lewis Hamilton. Um, give me Lewis Hamilton. Actually, Lewis Hamilton can take up all the spots.
I
You,
understand.
you can have.
When you said that name, I'm like, yeah, yeah, okay. I understand why you said what you said about the husband part. Okay, go
Yeah,
ahead.
because it would be my husband would not be thrilled if Lewis Hamilton is part of our trip, because yeah, I would be insufferable at that point. But like I said, I'd love to take Lewis Hamilton with
Okay,
me.
okay.
I would let you know who else I would love to take with me? Michael Harriot, the author and activist. If like he's just, his writing is not like, he is whip smart, his writing is incredible, his humor is next level. If you haven't read it already, his book Black AF History, that needs to be taught in every single classroom, in every
Wow,
single
I have not, but please, once we link up offline, give me the title of that, 'cause I'm definitely gonna
yeah.
look at.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Black AF history, that should be taught everywhere. Unfortunately, we know in this current world it won't, which is part of the reason why we're at where we're at. But so Lewis Hamilton, Michael Harriot, and who else would I take with me? This is gonna be fun. Um, Henrik Lundqvist, the former goalie for the New York Rangers. Because again,
Oh,
just yeah. And that says something because I hate the Rangers because I'm a Devils fan. But yeah.
I understand. Okay, do and listen. You would have the time of your life with those three. There's no question about
And
that.
my husband would file papers, so
You would definitely come back a single woman. There's no question about that. That's for sure. But then again, you might.
actually, I'm gonna go back. Actually, scratch that. I'm gonna make a revision. I'm gonna take Henrik Lundqvist off and replace him with Roger Federer because he's my favorite all-time tennis player, and I just think he's an extraordinary person. So, Lewis
Okay.
Hamilton, Michael Harriet, Roger Federer.
Got you. I'm a Nadal fan. When it comes to tennis,
I
I'm
mean,
definitely
Rafa, he's like, how do you not love Rafa? You know,
right. Rafa,
yeah,
I'm team Rafa over here, but I do respect Federer because he's
yeah.
amazing.
I
Djokovic is
mean,
one.
he and Fed, they pushed, and I love the friendship that those two have. Like, I love how they were each other's biggest rivals, but they also nobody under like they were the only ones who knew what the other was dealing with. And I love their friendship that those two have, the fact that they were so there for each other in their respective retirements. I love their friendship.
Absolutely, no question. If you had three artists or three songs to listen to on repeat and never get tired of, who would those three artists or three songs be?
Oh man, I have so many songs that I love. Sorry for the barking. That's my dog Sophie. She's getting
That's
irritated.
okay. That's all right. I love it.
um, oh my God. They're so this is so hard. There is so many. Right
Do you
now,
have three artists that you would listen to?
um, I mean, even though I bagged on him, Drake is prolific and he's got so many songs. Like I have a lot of Drake on my Spotify
Okay,
play, playlist. Beastie Boys is I love them and I
okay,
just respect them so much, especially how much they evolved throughout
right.
their careers. In that same vein, REM, the way that the longevity
Wow.
that they had as a band.
Okay,
And my musical taste
it's
is
similar to mine.
is
Which is great.
everywhere. I
Great.
basically listen to everything except country. So like I've got playlists that go from like Rammstein to REM to Sade to Drake to Tori Amos to the Smiths to yeah. So I'm all over the place there.
I love that. Definitely REM on my Pandora. I got Pandora. Drizzy, of course, Drizzy's on my
Yeah,
Pandora. No question about that. And Beastie Boys. I mean, listen, who doesn't have "You Got the Right"? You got to fight for your right to party. Who doesn't have that
yeah.
song? And they got
Um,
other ones too. That's
yeah,
for
they like that's what I'm so sad that we never got to saw that we never saw the Beastie Boys in concert,
sure.
before Adam Young passed away and that we never saw REM. I would have like those are two of my great regrets is never seeing REM live and never seeing Beastie Boys live.
I feel that. I feel that. Okay. Uh, if they said to you, Alicia, you can only do one job, one of these jobs for the rest of your career, be a director of communications, or be a sports writer, or be a producer. Which one would you do if you only
Sports
had
writer.
one?
Sports
Sports
writer.
writer.
Hmm.
I love it. I love it.
That's still what you know what I mean? It's like that's what we are. That's how we started. That's
Absolutely.
still like I said, you know, I is obviously I have, I'm in my current role, but I still consider myself, I still consider myself a journalist,
Me
you know.
too.
I still because
Mhm.
that's
It
no
never
matter
goes away.
it never goes away. And because that is what I am, is why I'm able to do this current position. You know what I mean? You know,
Yep.
the reason why I have the relationships with the media that I have is because I know like they're because I've been side by side with them for years, and everything like that. So yeah, sports writer.
I
Mhm.
love it. I absolutely love that. That is pretty dope. And this has been a dope ass conversation with you, Alicia. Alicia. I'm about to call she Alicia, but Alicia. Getting to know your why and your start. Working from the different publications that you worked at, covering the different things, all the way down to now you being a director of communications for the Ocala Breeders Sales Company. Some of the great advice that you gave, some of your favorite things as well. The fact that you got great music taste, that which is amazing. It's just very easy to talk to you. There's an obvious passion for what you do and an obvious beauty that you possess. And I love the fact that you came on here on my podcast and talked to me. I really do appreciate that. As I always do at the very end of my podcast, the question that I ask is there anything else you would like to add about yourself, your job title, or just anything in general before we conclude?
Um, I think we've pretty well covered it. And I do that. What you just did, I do the same thing with all my interviews. I always end it with, is there anything that I haven't asked you that you'd like to go ahead and add in? That's a great, that's always a great thing. I think more than just anything I'd like to add about myself is just an overall message to all of our people, like I said, in this space, doing the work, again, just know that you have people and resources and support out there that, even if we, and don't ever be afraid to like be vulnerable and reach out and look for that support and reach out to people who may be able to elevate you and lift you up and everything. And we are journalists, we are all competitive, but we're also a small herd and we're all fighting for the same thing, and that's to still exist. So, lean on, I said, we all, for the greater good of our profession of what we're trying to do. Like I said, journalism matters. It matters. It matters more than ever. Know that, fight for it at all costs, and lean on your people.
I love that. I love that. Well said. And like I said, you take care and enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening.
Thank you for having
Uh,
me on. This is so much fun.
no, it was great. It was amazing. And listen, you enjoy your weekend. You and I would definitely be in touch. Don't be a stranger. And
Yes.
once again, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much. You take care.